What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Ear Hustling Podcast. As I said in the promotional video, Soleil is not here, so y'all got to deal with the degenerates, us, once again. Eric, what's going on, man?
So why you got to start with me when you said you got to deal with the degenerates?
I mean, because you're the first person came to my mind.
So
You're the
trying to
OG
say I'm-
degenerate.
What, man, you Gen X too, bro. So don't sit there and act like you like a millennial or like a Gen Z.
All right, I'll come back to you. Prince, how you doing, man?
Hey,
It was one
I'm
simple
doing
question.
pretty well.
I got a lecture from Jesus Christ the Almighty. Huh, Prince?
Nah, I was just saying I'm doing pretty well. You know, with you three here, I feel like I have to be the order. I have to be the order among all this chaos. So with Soleil not here, I will take charge and be the one that keeps us all on task, all on track.
So you're going to be the Soleil of this episode.
Patrick, how's it going, Patrick? Patrick?
We're off to a great start. We're off
We
to
are.
a great start.
Future in politics, Princeton.
That was a plead the fifth answer if I've ever heard one before in my life. Listen,
I'm glad Chris just helped us out. Eric's not Gen X; he's a boomer. Thanks, Chris.
Wow.
Appreciate you.
You know what?
No, I'm doing well. That's okay. He asked me, Eric, but that's okay. If you want to answer for me, you can. Listen, I'm doing better than I was this morning. Had a couple of fillings, dental work done, so I'm a little loopy. Woo! A little bit, kind of feeling the
What's the excuse
anesthetic a little
normally?
bit. Right. And a little home remedy myself, for the pain. So I am multitasking here for un momento. I've got my boys shout out from my Buffalo draft online here. So if I'm a little preoccupied, just scream at me.
Gotcha. So, Eric, do you want to answer the question now?
Ask the question.
He doesn't even remember what it was.
I remember the question. Ask the question again.
I'm not falling through that. Anyway, like I said, welcome to another edition. Today we got a very special episode. It's going to be the 2024 NFL preview. We got a couple of guests on. We got a couple more guests that's supposed to be here. Got a couple of messages on that. So stay tuned. But right now, let's bring the guests we have on. There are definitely some familiar faces to the show. Ben and Al, what is up, gentlemen?
Hey, Deion Sanders looks like. Oh.
They are blenders, but yeah.
Okay. What up, Coach Prime?
No, I don't want that title. I don't want that smoke. I'm just Al. Listen, I watch over the news and journalize and give my opinion. That's about.
Yeah. Glad to be on. Glad to see you guys.
Same. So as I told you all before we started, definitely want to give you guys the opportunity to introduce yourselves. Ben, Eric and I have called you the OG, for the longest. So Ben, let's start off with you and let's talk about what you got going on.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Ben. Just changed my name there. BS3 Network. Been doing podcasting since 2016. Started off with audio podcasting, eventually get into the video aspect of things. And I've been running a network since 2019. We've got a Roku channel, BS3 TV. We also have a podcast, kind of a internet radio part of it, and then also a YouTube channel. And so, yeah, we got some of everything, content from A to Z, changing the way you watch TV. That's our tagline. So, yeah.
You got that sultry voice, man. You got that, that little Barry White thing going on.
Yeah, I've been told that my whole life. For you. Finally, I got it.
It works for you.
Finally,
it works for you.
Yeah.
Aren't you already married, Patrick?
This is the bromance. That's it. I'm a dapper.
Listen, I appreciate a good talent.
That's fair.
And we got Al here, and I mentioned when he first came on that he is the winner of the One Jeopardy show that we had in season 1. So this man knows what he's talking about. So Al, welcome to the show. Tell us a little about what you got going on, sir.
My name is Al. Hi. Been podcasting since 2019. I have a show called Casual Highlights, which is still currently in hiatus. till the fall. I'm recently been working on, been doing a lot of photography work, sports photography out here in the Kansas City metropolitan area. Hitting up a lot of Big 12 games, JUCOs, high school. So I've been really focused on that area, but still have met a lot of people. That's looking to start my show back up here pretty soon for talking about a little bit of the Big 12 and the exciting things going on. I call it the Forgotten Conference because everybody's talking about SEC and Big 10 and us little people out here in the Midwest. Hey, we still out here grinding out here. We don't forget about the Big 12. There's more than just Coach Prime in Colorado. There's some good football and very good basketball. So show is casual highlights. We'll talk more later, man. I got some more things to talk about photography and drone work. So thank y'all for having me, fellas. Thank y'all, man. It's an honor to be on here.
Awesome. We're glad to have both you guys. And one thing I'll say, Al, I haven't forgotten about the Big 12, but that one conference out there in the West, I can't remember the name of it. Pac something. I can't remember the name. I kind of forgot about that.
The Pac-2.
The Pac-2. Yeah, that's
the
right.
Pac-2 now.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just the
Yeah,
pack.
Is
They call them the pack. They ain't even no team.
I mean, they were close to being that one-man wolf pack. That's for sure.
Right.
No, it's
right,
the Pack It In conference.
That's good.
That's what it is now.
One thing I'm kind of happy to see, guys, is Patrick, I see you decked out in that Buffalo gear, so we know who you're a fan of. Eric, I see you with that.
Jest here, by the way. Just wanted to throw
We
that out.
kind of didn't need to know that. Once again, you're married.
Just wanted to let you know. It's authentic. It's real.
Eric, you got the Lions hat on. Ben, you got the Dallas Cowboy hat on. Al, we don't really know who you're a fan of. I mean, I do, whatever. There it is.
We're gonna talk later. We gonna
okay, there it is.
These are the brand colors back here. But
Gotcha.
But this all, we already know.
Princeton, you're not really decked out anyone. And I wanted to, kind of host this show being, unbiased. I really did. That's why I'm just wearing my polo. But, I'm a little hot. Hang on one second, y'all. Hang on.
No. Listen. Oh man, leave your clothes on. I would ask you to stand up, but I don't want to see you take anything of that off.
I mean, I can't stand up 2 foot tall. I won't say why, but
see,
I thought you were about Hulk Hogan and rip the shirt off.
Oh no, man, we can't talk about that guy.
I am a real American.
I'm about to.
Not true.
That's
I'm not afraid to use it.
That's a show for another day.
We got to keep talking for like about another 45 seconds because I'm on my last draft pick. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Oh my God! Yeah, you're about to get muted. Actually, you're up first, sir. So
I know, and that's what's killing me. I've got 2 picks in like the next 35 seconds. Go ahead.
What we are about to do is talk about each division. Got some great minds here, and even Patrick, and they're going to talk about the different divisions in the NFL and gonna go from there. So one thing I'm gonna ask y'all to do, save to the end your Super Bowl picks, gentlemen. So we're gonna save that to the end. So Patrick, we're gonna go to you, kick off first, sir. I know you got your thing going on there, but you're gonna talk about the AFC East.
I've literally got 4 picks until my very last pick in this draft, but that's okay. That's all right. I can multitask here, folks. So we're going to take off with the AFC East here. Now, when we started talking about the AFC East, obviously it's been dominated by one team for the last couple of years, but we do want to go. We're going to start from worst to first. All right. Worst to first is kind of how we're going to go through each of these 4 teams, talking a little bit about some of the free agents, some of the additions, some of the subtractions, coaching changes, a little bit of everything going on in the AFC East. Now, listen, if you're asking me, and I know nobody cares, but I have the microphone currently, so I'm going to use it. The AFC East, probably one of the most competitive divisions in the NFL. You're looking at a solid 3 out of 4 teams looking for playoff runs. The one that I'm most glad about not looking for a playoff run is the team that I am going to start talking about first, of course, and that is, of course, the New England Patriots. Now, listen, the New England Patriots have been a force for many years in years past, but that's gone. They suck now, okay? They're going to be in the basement, all right? They're starting a new era of coaching with Gerard Mayo. Bill Belichick, gone, out, no more. In are the new quarterback, Drake May. Is he going to start? Jacoby Brissett is the incumbent right there. We'll see what happens there. We've added guys like in free agency. I got to check my notes here if I can and do it. We can talk about Jacoby Brissett, Austin tight end, Antonio Gibson, running back that we talked about. Oh, and free agency. They tried to throw a bunch of money at Brandon Ayuk, but ain't nobody want to go to New England, okay? Especially a number one receiver like Brandon Ayuk, all right? So luckily, maybe if they're lucky, we're going to talk about 3 to 4 wins for the New England Patriots coming in at 4th place in the AFC East. All right. Now, this is where it gets a little difficult. All right. So now you're talking about 3 teams that have potential, serious potential to not only be playoff contenders, but we're talking about Super Bowl teams here. Okay. We're going to go with 3rd place in the AFC East is going to be the JETSSUCK. All right. The Jets. All right. Listen, Aaron Rodgers is over the hill 30 plus years. Okay. Listen, he's got an arm. Okay. But can anybody catch the ball? I don't know. Garrett Wilson. Yeah. Okay. Maybe. I'll give you that. Javon Kinlaw, they brought him in on the defensive line. But what we really got to talk about, if we're talking about the New England or the New York Jets, how much of a dummy do you have to be for Hassan Reddick? All right, let's throw a 3rd round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles without a guy that wants a new contract, and you have no intention of signing the guy. He was there for a press conference. Yeah, I love the New York Jets. They're a great team. Yeah, and then has never been there since. All right. What is happening over there? I mean, come on, Robert Saleh, get your act together. All right. So 3rd place right there. Oh, we got to talk about a couple of free agents for the Jets. They tried to secure their offensive line because they know Aaron Rodgers can't move. All right. So they got to protect him. Brought in Tyron Smith, John Simpson, Morgan Moses, all on the offensive line, trying to beef that up. And then, of course, you got the big, tall stud, Mike Williams, wide receiver that was brought in. We'll see what he can do. But they 10-7. I'll give it to them. 10-7. They can put some games together. 10-7. Outside chance, playoffs, 3rd place. Dolphins. All right, Miami Dolphins. That's the worst fight song if you've ever heard that song. It's terrible. Don't ever go to a Miami Dolphins football game. It's the worst touchdown song ever invented. All right. First, we got to start with Tua turn the ball over. All right. Tua turn the ball over. Obviously, okay, needs to continue to prove himself. All right. Is he that elite quarterback? I don't think he is. But is he serviceable? I mean, I could throw a ball to Tyreek Hill and have Tyreek Hill catch it, or Jalen Waddle catch it. So how talented really is he? Let's be honest here. All right. So we're talking about free agency. OBJ, over the hill much? I mean, he's starting on the PUP list. 4 games. I mean, what are you paying this guy for? I mean, come on, man. Kendall Fuller. All right, Kendall Fuller, cornerback, Miami Dolphins. They needed a little bit of help. They brought in my guy, Jordan Poyer. Listen, I hate to see Jordan Poyer go. All right, but he's the enemy now, okay? You're talking about losses. All right, Christian Wilkins. All right, first of all, probably the most dirty player I've ever seen, Christian Wilkins, dirty player. If you ever watched him play Josh Allen, he goes after Josh Allen's a couple of times, on those piles. Weird. Dirty player, Christian Wilkins. Offensive guard, Robert Hunt. Linebacker, Andrew Van Ginkel, who came up in the end of last season making some plays. Goldilocks, long linebacker, long hair, Van Ginkel. All right. So lost all those guys. They did bring in Chop Robinson, though, on the edge. Going to get a little pressure from the draft there. Hopefully getting some pressure in the Jets. We got them at about 11-6. I'm going to give them an 11-6. Now, guys, how am I doing on time here? Do I got enough time to really give the amount of time needed to my boys here? Not the chest hair. All right.
You got 30 seconds.
Fudge, really? The Buffalo Bills, baby. All right, let's talk about the back-to-back 4-time AFC East champion Buffalo Bills. Listen, I know what the national media is saying. Oh, we lost Steph Diggs. Oh, we lost Gabe Davis. Listen, who wants a diva number 1 wide receiver on their team anyways? He was drama. Listen, this is addition by subtraction, guys, okay? This camp has been all about camaraderie, all about, you talk about going on brocations, man, and playing and hanging out together. These guys are gelling, they're getting together, building that camaraderie, and it's an unselfish wide receiver room. One of the guys were saying, listen, I don't care who he is because we know everybody has a seat at the table. All right. That was a quote from one of our wide receivers. All right. So I don't want to hear about Diggs, Davis, Tre'Davious White going out the door. Listen, those hurt, no doubt. All right. But we got a rookie on the back end, Cole Bishop on the safety coming in, Khalil Shakir coming up from last year, had a couple of great plays, number 10. And then, of course, Keon Coleman, 6'4" out of Florida State. Boy can go up and straight ball. 50-50 balls, going to be a favorite of Josh Allen. Get up there, goal line, red zone, just toss it up to this boy. And he's going. I've got him about 12-5-ish with a five-time AFC East champions. How do you think about that?
You went Booker T on us on that one, but you didn't say
Damn
it
right
5
I
times
did.
either.
No, I didn't do it 5 times, actually, but I was hoping you'd get that reference.
Yeah,
How'd I
of
do
course,
on time?
of
You
course.
said 5 minutes. How'd I do?
You did about 8. So,
I talk a lot.
So, anybody got any feedback from Patrick and his
It's not going to
very
matter. No,
unbiased
just kidding.
AFC East preview? Eric,
Yeah, I do, Patrick. I think that it's a pretty good list, but I think you need to flip that order between Miami and Buffalo. I do believe that
Miami and
has-
Buffalo.
Yeah, I do believe that Miami has a stronger team. So yeah, okay, yeah,
Would you like to tell me why?
Well, yeah, very simply on the offensive end, I just don't think they're going to have enough firepower. Now, I do know that they basically experimented last year when they kind of froze out Diggs to see how they would play if they didn't have him. So that didn't go.
And we
under the
won
radar,
6
but
games straight without him.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. Exactly. But you know what? Buffalo's defense can be a little suspect at times with speed, and Miami has tons of speed. And they've got a possession receiver in Odell. Odell can do, like 5, 7, 10, 15-yard patterns. Defense is going to be spreaded. It's going to be one-on-one coverage. Odell against the average number 3 corner, it's a wrap.
Listen, I get it, but you know what? The days of defense winning championships is long gone. I'm going to subscribe to the Kansas City Chiefs. We're just going to outscore everybody and suck on defense. All right? We've got Josh Allen, baby. Come on.
Oh, yeah, you got a bulldozer. I mean, you got a hell of a quarterback. Definitely a top 3 quarterback for certain. But
Top
like I said,
3.
you're listed
2.
3.
Who's above him besides Mahomes? Who? Don't say Burrow.
I won't. Lamar Jackson. How about that? The reigning MVP.
Oh, okay. I'll leave that alone. Listen, I
Boo!
got my opinion on Lamar. What deal with that?
Yeah.
all right, Al.
All right,
Let
Prime,
me
what
go.
you got?
Let me go to you
Oh,
real
sorry,
quick,
James.
Al. So no. Let me go to you real quick. I want to hear who you got as where's Josh Allen as far as top quarterbacks in the league?
Who I do?
No,
I
Al.
would say,
We know how you feel.
I would say is Mahomes. You got to put Burrow and Allen 1A, 1B, and the reason why
Well, who's
I
A
say,
and who's B?
man, it don't matter. They
Who's
still,
A?
and they flip flop anytime. Either way, they flip flop. Let me see. I would give
The
Burrow
best
the
ability
edge.
is availability.
That's it too. But however, Burrow has been to 2 AFC title games and been to a Super Bowl. Allen's only been to 1 game, and we won't forget a couple of years ago when y'all came to Kansas City and the great
That's
Reaper
not on
himself.
Allen, though. Allen
Hey.
walks off the field with 13 seconds left.
Hey,
He did
man,
his job. He did his
hey,
job.
I mean, he did what he was supposed to do, man. Y'all,
Allen did his job. The defense failed us.
13
Right.
seconds away, yeah. But I'm gonna say 1A and 1B. I think when it came time for closing time with the Bills, they were suspect on the defensive end. But the question was offensively. I don't like Lamar Jackson in the top 5.
Me either.
Here is why. He hasn't proven to me. He's been more of a running quarterback. And I know a lot of people are saying that the game is changing to running quarterbacks. But to me, a quarterback, if I'm paying you a bag, you are to get the ball down the field. Last time that I checked, because after a while, if you're running the football a lot, you gonna be like one of these running backs looking like Zeke Elliott, or Cook. I'm sorry, I'm just saying, man.
What Zeke got to catch a stray like that?
I'm sorry, NFC East Cowboys.
You hit a nerve there.
I'm sorry. My apologies. I'm trying to.
He is old though, so
Henry, Derrick Henry,
Derrick
for
Henry.
instance, King Henry. I mean, after a while, when are we going to get consistency from Lamar Jackson in the pocket, out the pocket with the throws? He's throwing too high, throwing too short. I mean, now he did a little bit better this past year with Zay Flowers and the tight end. Who's the tight end?
Mark Andrews.
Andrews.
They had Likely. I think
and Likely, yeah. And
or Isaiah Likely. You're right.
And
right.
the two tight end sets. So there was some improvement, but I'm not ready to give him time. I would put Jalen Hurts before Lamar Jackson.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'll say that right now.
I'm sorry. Excuse me 1 second. So Lamar Jackson last year, 67.2 completion percentage, 3,678 yards through the air, 24 touchdowns through the air, quarterback rating of 102. So
that was 1 year. We need consistency. See them.
Yeah.
How long he been in the first? I said he did a little bit better. I'm giving the brother his props now. He has done a little bit better.
He did a little bit better.
He did a little bit better. Like
James knows about doing a little bit better.
Okay.
I just need him to stack some more. I think he.
I'll say this. It's gonna happen this year. You adding Derrick Henry completely changes the game. They've had no back like this. I don't know, ever maybe. If you want to go back to like Jamal Lewis, and when they had Jamal Lewis, they ended up going to the Super Bowl. So I think this year is going to be that next level for him. I think he's got the receiver weapons. Mark Andrews is not going to stay healthy the entire year, so I would suggest you put Likely in for the majority of the time, or due to the two tight end set. But I think this year is the year, and obviously you're going to have to get past Kansas City. That's going to be your hardest test regardless. But I think this is the year where he shows everybody he can make it to the big one.
So we're gonna move on from the NFC North because I think Prince is the AFC North. I'm sorry, Prince is just taking notes. Like, yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Ooh, write that down. Write that down.
Yeah. We're gonna move on from that. But one thing I do want to say before we move on to Al to cover the AFC West, Patrick, you said one thing that was highly questionable. You said you can throw the ball to Tyreek. Man, with that speed, you would never get the ball downfield to Tyreek. That's all I'm saying.
Well, he's talking about yards after catch. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He can throw an underhand and let Tyreek do what he does.
Ben, I need you on the show more often, buddy, because these jokers don't understand what it's like to be a real analyst. Okay? Listen.
He did say
is
that.
Gonna be, is the king of yards after the catch, man. I could just go, boop, there you go, and go that way.
He'll do the rest.
Tua is insignificant in that offense. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, insignificant in that offense.
Well, out of everybody on the panel, I think there's one person that probably can speak a whole lot about Tyreek Hill. And we're going to turn the floor over to Mr. Al right now to give us a little information on the AFC West.
All right, let me change the glass. Let me get my readers on.
Yeah, cheaters.
Yeah. You got to be able to see, man.
Yeah,
age ain't nothing but a number, baby.
Man, I got the great prove it under the hat. All right. So, thank y'all again for having me. Fun fact: since the hiring of Andy Reid with the Kansas City Chiefs, there have been 18 coaching changes between the Chargers, Raiders, and Broncos. 18. The Chiefs have won. The Chiefs have won since Manning went to that last Super Bowl in 15-16. The Chiefs have won the last 8 straight AFC West. Once Manning's last year, and they lost. I want to say it was to was it Baltimore? I think it was Baltimore. Somebody, yeah, it wasn't Baltimore. It was New England. Somebody that lost to. And the Chiefs have pretty much owned the AFC West. And it really has surprised me with the job. It's truly coaching, but then you also got to have players. And the reason why the Kansas City Chiefs have been dominant, especially in Kansas City, we call it the golden era, is because, number one, no injuries. There have been no major injuries out there. Patrick Mahomes might have an ankle tweak here or there. I think he got Tom Brady trainers or somebody training him during the week. Something going on with him.
TB12.
TB12, yeah. We have by far the greatest tight end, and also in Kansas City, another interesting thing that they have by far probably going to be a top 5 defense going into this year. They were very underrated on defense last year. The defense really kept Kansas City going throughout the year because we had drop passes from wide receivers, all that, this and that. But anyway, let us get to my sleeper and let's get to everybody else in the AFC West. Because I want to start with the Broncos. Now, Sean Payton going into his second season. For those of you all don't know, who've been living under a rock, he coached in New Orleans for about 15, 16 years, took the Saints to their first Super Bowl, 3 NFC titles under his belt. Should have been 2 Super Bowls, courtesy of the Rams cheating. We're not going to talk about that. But currently, he has in his quarterback room right now, he has a Zach Wilson, a Jarrett Stidham, and a Bo Nix. And as of today, QB1 is Jarrett Stidham. Good luck with that. You have a Bo Nix, you have a Zach Wilson, which is crap. But then you have somebody named Bo Nix. Zach Wilson is this. That's why he ain't with the Jets no more. But a Bo Nix, to me, 56 career college starts. He probably will need a little bit more time. I think Sean Payton is trying to he's trying to build something. We're going to see what they're going to do this year. I expect them to be better than what they was. They just got to figure out the quarterback situation. They do have a great defense with Patrick Surtain Jr. on the corner. They got some good pieces. They're still trying to figure out the offensive weapons, in my opinion, a little bit in Denver. But we're not worried about Denver out here in Kansas City. Let us go to my sleeper pick that's going to make the playoffs. That's very interesting is the LA Chargers. Now, the LA Chargers just made a hire. Mr. Jim Harbaugh, who did a phenomenal job in Michigan. And when I came on your show, which is interesting, I talked about, I think you came on my show, and I was wondering, this was 2 years ago, was Jim Harbaugh's job in trouble? Because there was always rumbling about, was he going to be fired? Was he going to be fired? But he got it right. The key was beating Ohio State and well-deserved, won him a national title. I really believe with Jim Harbaugh, if you look at the roster, their running back is J.K. Dobbins, and it's another running back from Baltimore. Gus Edwards is in their backfield. He's pretty much revamped. He has Greg Roman as the offensive coordinator, Jesse Mintz on the defensive side. He's also has brought in some of the Baltimore staff, and he has Navarro Bowman as linebacker coach. I'm about to call this team San Diego.
That's what they should be.
They still should be in San Diego, but that we'll talk about on a different podcast. But he has a lot of, like, Navarro Bowman is the linebacker coach. The defense was already strong already. I just believe they were schemed wrong last year. So I really believe they'll figure out the run game. Now the question mark is the wide receiver room, because they don't have Keenan Allen and they don't have Mike Williams. They're probably the 2 most talented wide receivers who never are consistently on the field for a 17-game stretch. So it's interesting to see what DJ Shark is going to do, what Palmer, which is the #1 wide receiver right now. It's going to be interesting to see what that wide receiver room is with a great quarterback in Justin Herbert. I think they're going to probably rely on that running game for a little bit. They're going to figure it out. But I really believe when it comes down to November and December, it's going to get down to the running game. They're going to finally figure some things out. And I think the Chargers are going to sneak into the playoffs. In football, you could turn something around in 1 year. That's the power of the National Football League. Better than anything in baseball, basketball, hockey. All you got to do, turn that roster over one time. Couple of injuries, couple wins, momentum. I believe they're going to be that sleeper. Now let me get to the other head scratcher of the AFC West, which is the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, we know Antonio Pierce, this is his first full year as head coach. I'm still trying to understand the Gardner Minshew or Aiden McConnell. I believe this is Gardner Minshew. This is going to be a chess piece before they go draft the quarterback in next year's draft. But I like the outside pieces of the tight end Brock Bowers, as well as you still have Devontae Adams. Now I'm wondering about this offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy, who was the Bears offensive coordinator for 2 years in Chicago, the same one that Justin Fields called out in the media about the playbook don't make no sense. You know, he threw his OC under the bus. So I'm trying to, that's still a head scratcher as to, okay, why we need to find out what he really about, and then this quarterback situation. But they're gonna ride or die with Antonio Pierce in that defense, and that defense is gonna keep them in games as long as they figure out how to use them weapons. But you use a 2 tight end set with Brock Bowers and the other tight end and Michael Mayer. That's the other big tight end. Oh, by the way, Jacoby Myers is a somewhat of a threat for the Raiders, but we're not really worried about them, neither him nor there. Now let's get to the one and only, the world champions. Woo! I gotta change the hat. The Kansas City Chiefs. And y'all ain't got no Super Bowls with all that booing. Anyway, let me deal with that one later. So we've had a crazy off season, y'all. We done had the parade shooting, God rest the lady soul who passed away. Then we done had people stealing cars from football players. We done had football players get arrested in Texas twice, cutting up out there, Mr. Rice. We done had some stuff. We done had animal cruelty charges on one of the players and got released. This is about right now. We've already so in Kansas City, they got rid of the drops and the injuries. Like I said earlier, the biggest thing with the Kansas City Chiefs, the reason why they've been successful has been nutrition. They released Kadarius Toney because he was very talented, but he couldn't stay on the field, and he had the drops as well when he was there. We also got rid of the other Mr.
He didn't have no eyebrows.
And I ain't no. I can't. That's all. Okay. Man, good look, Ben. Good look. We got rid of Mr. Val Scantling because he had the drops as well. And like I said, the defense was the best. Are you welcome? Yeah, y'all got him. Good luck. But we picked up somebody named Hollywood Brown, and now Hollywood Brown is still injured for look like the next 3 or 4 games are going to be out. But you have him. You got Mr. Worthy, who's a great route speed runner. Also have Mr. Rice, which I think he's going to ascend to another level. We also have McCole Harmon at wide receiver, and I wouldn't say he's a favorite, but Juju Smith-Schuster just got signed a couple of days ago to help out that wide receiver room. We also have the greatest tight end in Travis Kelce, and by far the defense is still stacked up with Chris Jones. We have Karl Laufskis. I think Karl Laufskis is a Michigan guy, if I'm not mistaken. Michigan or Western Michigan, one of the two. At linebacker, then we have a great secondary. The AFC West is going to come through Arrowhead Stadium, right now. As of right now, but I believe that the Chargers is a sleeper team to be on the lookout for. When the Chargers play the Chiefs, they bring most times, not all the time, but most times they bring the best out of Kansas City. But I think the AFC West will come out of Kansas City, and I'll give you my picks later on.
Okay. Al, so I'm just going to ask one question. We talked about in the beginning. Great job, definitely. You won Jeopardy, so you're a very intelligent man. I'm just going to ask your help on something here. You mentioned that Kansas City have won 8 straight division titles.
Yeah, since let me make sure we got this correct. So they won pretty much every season that Patrick Mahomes has been, even his rookie year. So that's 7 years plus the year Alex Smith was a starter before Mahomes got there, which is 8. Yeah.
Okay, so 8 straight. Patrick mentioned that Buffalo won 4 straight, and I do believe 8 is higher than 4. If
You're not very good at math, James. So listen.
That's why I'm asking for help, man. I'm asking for help here.
You're not very good at math. Final
score is 8-4. The team with 8 would win, I believe, if we're not playing golf.
We're coming. Listen, there's no doubt that the Chiefs have ruled the AFC conference. Okay, there's no doubt. I've got no hatred towards the Chiefs. Listen, I appreciate what they've done. They're the big brother, and we're coming for that shit. I'm telling you, man, we're coming for it.
Let me add this as well. The run that Patrick Mahomes made last year, because there was a lot of talk where they can't win on the road. They can't win a road game. Going into Buffalo and doing what they did in Buffalo, and then going into Baltimore, I was nervous about the Baltimore game because I'm like, okay, this is Baltimore should have been able to do some stuff, but key plays at certain situations, certain times.
Well, it's the same thing. I say this about Josh Allen too. Like, now that all of you talk about Diggs and Gabe Davis going away, I've said this many times. Josh Allen now has to take the Patrick Mahomes step, which is elevate everybody else around him. Okay, you saw that last year, especially towards the end of the season when they were struggling and getting stuff together. Patrick Mahomes made everybody better around him. And I'm not saying that Josh Allen hasn't already done that, but now this is going to be the first year where he doesn't have that stud number one, that he is going to have to raise the level of play. So that's just a tout to Patrick Mahomes, saying that, you know, he's already done it. Now Josh Allen has to take that step too.
And let me give to Mr. Patrick, y'all have a good coordinator. I think his name is Joe Brady.
Joe Brady. Yep.
Yeah, I like his style of even watching him at LSU and what he did with Burrow. You know,
Burrow.
Yep. So taking this step, I like the move that's going to help that room. It's going to bring back times of your former OC that's the Giants, Dable, Brian Dable.
Yep.
He got that kind of feel. Joe Brady does.
Yeah.
Well, you'll notice too when the Bills went on their run. Oh, go ahead, Ben.
Well, the only thing I'm gonna say is I'm looking forward to what Uncle Rico's gonna do in Las Vegas. Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Uncle Rico. But guys, we're gonna put a. Oh, go ahead, Prince.
Oh no, I only had one question for Al about the Chargers, and I was just wondering, is Jim Harbaugh, is he gonna have like the other team signals? Is he gonna have their play calls for the games? That's all I was wondering.
What is the Jim Harbaugh Chargers gonna look like?
He got somebody on the staff right now, man.
Quietly.
Yeah.
And don't say nothing. They're gonna put him in the stands. You ain't even traveling with the team. I'm gonna fly you in Friday night. Don't say ish. Okay, don't say nothing.
Look, I know we're talking about the NFL, but I'm gonna say one thing. When Harbaugh wasn't there for half the season, the team still went undefeated.
Yeah,
Jim Harbaugh is gonna have the Chargers very well prepared, cheating or not. That's going to be a prepared team. That team is going to be disciplined on offense, unlike they were last year. And he's going to have a great mixture of run and pass. So there are no stars. But you know what? You got Justin Herbert back there, so he's going to make the right decision. So, Al, I do agree with you. I think they may even get one playoff win.
Yeah. And see, and the thing is, he hasn't had a passer like Herbert before. I mean, he had Kaepernick and he had Alex Smith when he was in San Francisco. But see, Justin Herbert is a different breed. So
he's a baller.
He's a baller, yeah. And that's why I picked him, because coaching, number one, you got a good coaching staff. And when that stuff get rolling, because ain't nobody really playing in September. Half these players ain't even played preseason, all right? So when they get out there, man, they still trying to get the rust off. October is really everything kick off. So and when he gets that thing
for me.
And when they get that thing rolling, they might go to Jacksonville and win this time and close out the game instead of, giving up a 35-point lead, which is crazy.
Guys, we're going to pivot for 1 second. Prince, we're going to come to you in a moment. But we have one of our YouTube viewers on, and he has something he wants to talk about the NFC West. So we're going to bring on Chandler and Austin right now. Chandler and Austin, welcome to the show.
What's up? We just wanted to... We're Rams fans, so I don't know how you guys feel about that, but
Tre'Davious White. Didn't Tre'Davious White go to the Rams?
Oh yeah, I did.
Is there Grandpa Stafford still there?
There you go.
Yeah, all right. This is my theory. I think next draft we're gonna go quarterback. Round one.
You got to.
But
hey, for the Rams
fans,
to
let Stafford go. He's not ready to let
for the Rams.
Go.
It's time.
For the Rams fans, how do you guys feel about Kerryon Williams taking your kickoff returns, starting running back, taking your kickoff and punt returns too? Did you hear that?
You mean Kyron?
Kyron Williams.
Kyron?
Yeah, Kyron Williams.
Yeah,
Kyron Williams.
Way too risky for him.
Yeah, I feel like injury, because he was out 2 years ago, right? Wasn't he out?
Yeah, his rookie year.
Rookie year, yeah, he was out with something, and then it's like, oh yeah, we're just gonna put more pressure on him to go get hit hard. So
He got out from 4 weeks this year.
yeah.
So how you guys think, Chandler and Austin, how you guys think the Rams are going to look this year? You think they're going to make a run for the playoffs again?
I think they're looking great.
Yeah. I mean, this defense this year is I mean,
he was gonna be way underrated.
Yeah, underrated, but like generational. I think that's like the word I keep hearing is like this defense this year with how we drafted is going to be like absolutely just on top. So
Got a weak spot with the
Who'd you
linebacker losing. What's his name? Ernest Jones. That sucked.
Oh, did you trade him?
Yep, to the Titans yesterday.
So who's going to be the competition in NFL NFC West in you guys' opinion?
49ers.
49ers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hey, that's
I was
an
going to say
easy. That's
it
an
took longer
easy.
than I expected.
That's a softball
You know.
question now.
Right.
With or without Brandon
Longer than I
Ayuk?
expected.
Right.
Seahawks never a threat.
Yeah, no, not Seahawks.
Yeah, they ain't been the same.
No. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
okay.
What do y'all think of Kyler Murray?
I think, yeah, overrated.
Is he too small to play football?
Prone, like,
No,
yeah.
just like a Darren Sproles type player. I don't think he's too small, but he has to pick his spots. He takes like one big hit from somebody, man. He's done.
Yeah.
Keep those little legs moving, young man.
I'm gonna get him
Yeah.
I'm gonna need him getting his playbook. I'm gonna need his organization not to call him out for getting his playbook.
He's playing
I
Madden
wanna
as we
see-
speak.
Yeah,
Right.
I want to
they
see some
paid
Marvin
him- they
Harrison
paid him-
Jr.
They said he had it's not studying the playbook, and he still got paid. So he
Yeah.
ain't studying the playbook. Newsflash, he not studying.
Right.
Yeah, that playbook.
So Chandler and Austin, my last question for you guys before we let you guys get out of here. Chiefs. Well, actually, I got two last questions. Chiefs or Bills? Who you guys got? AFC Championship game. If it came down to
Oh,
those
what?
two.
I
It's
mean,
the one. It was like the Bills only win if Patrick Mahomes dies. Like,
Oh,
Patrick Mahomes have to get sniped. Is that what I'm saying?
Wow.
fire!
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Listen,
Wow.
listen, it's okay. You all can hate all you want. All right, I embrace the underdog mentality. Okay, I don't
we
want
are
all.
going to be MVP like 3 times without.
yeah.
So my last question, Chandler and Austin. Once again, before I let you guys get out of here, Super Bowl pick. Who you guys got? AFC, FC, and AFC, NFC, and who wins?
Die hard Rams, but like for me, honestly,
Homer.
yeah, right. But like me, honestly, I don't know. I don't like who's realistic. I feel like realistically, like probably. I mean, the Chiefs are so solid, especially with like their like now Mahomes has, targets for a wide receiver, but I don't know. Like it's easy to say the Chiefs. I'm trying to think of like a team that's just gonna come out of nowhere. Maybe the Lions. No, not
Yes.
the Lions. Lions aren't coming.
No, you're good.
Two
We can
people
move
who
on.
love to hear that.
We can
I
move on.
want, like it's just a team. I'm trying to say a team that like
I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers went.
Packers. Packers are cool. Packers would be a cool one, but yeah, no, it's tough.
I
Like
don't
for
know.
me, I'm saying Chiefs. He's smarter in football than I am, so he'll know better than anyone. So
All right, well, that's good to know that you guys came prepared. Thank you guys so much.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
yeah, I appreciate it.
No, guys, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Definitely keep watching
Appreciate
and keep chiming in your thoughts, please. Thanks,
I
guys.
appreciate you guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna jump back in, and Princeton, what do you got for the AFC North?
All right, I got the AFC North, and I'm going to make mine quick. Look, unlike everybody up here, all these homers who have their divisions, and they're just picking their team number one in every single case, and they're doing all this research just because they like their team. I'm an unbiased figure. I'm unfazed because I do not have an NFL team. I simply watch for the enjoyment. I like players. So I think for the AFC North, off of all the research that I've done, an hour, I think it's really going to come down to quarterbacks. I think it's going to be a question of quarterbacks when it comes to these teams. I think it's really a 2-team division with 2 teams at the bottom fighting to see who's going to be the worst. At the bottom, I've got the Steelers. I think that it's going to be it was just came out that Russell Wilson is going to be starting, but I think by the probably a few games in, you'll probably see Justin Fields actually get in some play. But I think it's just going to come down to primarily to how the team is doing. I think if you're trying to play for your future, I know the Steelers are still trying to rebound from when they had Big Ben. I think you're going to want to go and get Justin Fields some reps. I know he hasn't looked great in his career, but you're going to want to get him out there. At third, I have the Browns. I think this is also, like I said, quarterbacks. I think it's going to be how Deshaun is going to look. I've heard that he's probably not even going to play week 1 because he has an injury that he's still recovering from. He hasn't been the same since he got paid $230 million guaranteed, which
He just needs a massage. That's all.
Somebody was gonna say something crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
was
So we're gonna see how that's looked. I also see they have Jameson Winston on their roster now too, along with like 3 other quarterbacks. So it's gonna be an interesting situation over there. If Deshaun Watson can get back to 90% of the player that he was, maybe they can make a run and actually look pretty good. They also have an issue with Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is still out as well. He's going to be out for at least 4 games. And he was a workhorse, man. He was somebody you could get the ball and he could win you games just on his own. So we know with running backs, ACLs, they hardly ever get back to where they were before. So that'll be interesting. At number 2, like I said, I think this is only a 2-team division. There's going to be 2 teams at the top. So at number 2, I have the Bengals. I think that this is going to, once again, come down to Joe Burrow. A lot of people would put him at number 2, right behind Mahomes, as the second best quarterback in the league. And one thing that I believe it was you, Patrick, who said earlier, availability is sometimes the best ability. So can he stay healthy? His rookie year, he was out. Last year, he was out. So if Joe can stay healthy the whole year, they might be able to win the whole thing. Who knows? But I don't know if he can even do that. Also, they're having some contract issues with Jamar Chase. He's still in talks. He's not even on the last year of his contract yet, and he's still trying. And he's trying to get a new contract already. What's going on? They're starting to become like the NBA as far as contracts go. It's kind of crazy. And so at number 1, obviously, I've got the Ravens. I've got Lamar, as he's one of, if not the best regular season quarterback there is. There's no question when it comes to the regular season. Lamar is that guy. And I think with Derrick Henry, my dad knows I'm a huge Derrick Henry fan. So it's going to be nice to see him not chained down by the terrible team of the Titans, and he actually gets to show that he is still the king. And I think this is just going to lock their offense even more. I think if the Ravens can get back to their bread and butter, that's running the ball. I know they wanted to pass the ball a lot more, but we saw in the playoffs that maybe if they would have stuck to their bread and butter, they actually could have came out with the win. So that's AFC North, and that's what I got.
So Prince, good job. Real quick, I'm gonna jump in here and say something. Al mentioned earlier that Burrow and Allen, and Allen was 1A and 1B. In your statement you made about Lamar being the best regular season quarterback, I think it's a 1A and 1B with the other one being Dak. Sorry, being, but
you're right. I agree 100%.
They definitely compete for that.
I didn't look up Dak's regular season win rate, but Lamar is sitting at 74.3%. When it comes to the regular season, he is that guy. It's just the playoffs where it all goes to shit.
So Chris makes a very interesting point. He said Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. Pittsburgh will not finish last. Interesting. Anybody got anything for the AFC North?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think it's the 2 top teams. And I think probably the biggest question mark is the Steelers. I mean, you don't – it's the 2 quarterbacks on the team, their first year on the team. But to the comment, Tomlin figures out a way to win. So they're going to be in the mix regardless. They'll have a winning record if it's barely. But I think I agree with you 100% with the 2 top teams.
Princeton, that was an A list.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And as far as the Steelers go, I think it's time to tank. I know they've had some winning years. I think it's time to just call it quits. Start tanking. Get yourself a real quarterback.
Ask y'all this, since we're talking about the Steelers, and I'm gonna ask you about Justin Fields. I was saying earlier, you had Luke Getsy, who's going to be the offensive coordinator with Las Vegas. When they were in Chicago together, do you think that was more of a Justin Fields problem, a Luke Getsy problem, or an organization who didn't know how to use Justin Fields?
Or D, all the above.
Or I was gonna say, man, great. Yeah. Because I'm like, all right, 33% each. But I think it's all the above. I think Justin should have gotten another year in Chicago. I really do. I don't think they had to go Caleb, personally. But if you put Justin Fields with those weapons that Caleb is going to have, I would have loved to have seen what Justin would have did. But I understand you probably can't pass up a Caleb Williams coming out this year. So I get it. But I think it's all the above.
I think they could have. I do think that because now you got to wait a couple of years for Caleb Williams' learning curve. Justin Fields had just got to the point where he was starting to figure a lot of stuff out. So I think if they just would have kept him and still made those same adjustments, and then maybe draft a Marvin Harrison Jr. and not go get Keenan Allen, I think that should have been the play. But we're gonna see how things are gonna turn out. But again. Justin Fields, you saw how he looked in the preseason. To me, he looked much better than Russell. Maybe he was kissing and rubbing on Sierra before the game. I don't know, but he just looked real sluggish.
He took baby Future to Six Flags.
Can you imagine if the Bears would have picked Marvin Harrison and picked Rome at number 9 and still got Cole?
Yeah. If you guys haven't heard, Caleb is the GOAT already. I mean, he's the greatest there ever is and ever will be.
Yeah.
I hope he does great. But stop with the greatness talk already.
Yeah.
Bar's very low for Chicago Bear quarterbacks. Bar is extremely low.
This is true. All right. Patrick, I've seen your mouth move a few times. I don't know if you're trying to talk, but I'm not hearing anything. Yep, can't hear you at all.
I knew something. It sounded too well for a second. That's what it was.
I know. The show was moving along so smugly.
I know. Yeah.
Nope, can't hear you at all, Patrick. Don't know what's going on. I don't know.
It's fine. This is better.
All right, let's move over to the NFC East. Ben, you're up.
Yeah, so to the division with the biggest question mark going into the season is the NFC East. I am not a homer. I'm going to be brutally honest here. But I'm going to go by off-season moves and kind of who was at the best to the worst. Number 1 is the Washington football team, Washington Commanders, whatever you want to call them. They got different names, different meanings and all of that. They were very active this offseason. Key additions, Dorrance Armstrong from the Cowboys, Tyler Biadasz from the Cowboys, Austin Eckler, Zach Ertz, Dante Fowler, Bobby Wagner. I think their biggest addition is Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn, who's a defensive coach. You see what he did with the Cowboys. Noah didn't pan out, but they had a ton of turnovers. That's his MO. So I think they're going to be one of the top defenses in the league. Wherever Dan Quinn is, it kind of adds up to that, besides in Atlanta. But that's the side note. 28-3. But anyway, they lost Kendall Fuller, Antonio Gibson. Patrick mentioned Antonio Gibson, Sam Howell, Curtis Samuel. So I think they are the sleeper team to possibly win this division. If things seem to go well, they drafted Jaden Daniels. Obviously, as a rookie, there's going to be a learning curve. There's going to be some difficulty there, but I think with him coming in and with the excitement of Dan Quinn, I think it should be. I think they definitely will be in the mix. Number 2, we're going to go Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, signing Saquon is a huge signing. In division, the Giants should be burned at the stake for allowing him to go to an in-division team. I don't care what you could have done, and them being on Hard Knocks was horrible because that GM's talking about what we are going to do, and you're going to call me back, right? Because, you know, yeah, I really like you. And it just was awkward, weird. He should have left. So congratulations to Saquon. He should have got out of there. But I think adding Paris Campbell, Cooper DeJean, they added Kenny Pickett, who's probably going to end up being something like a backup. But I think one of the biggest things this offseason has been some rumbling of Hurts and Sirianni having a disagreement, and they're not seeing eye to eye. I didn't really see that last year, but I think going into the season, if you're already having those type of stories come out, there's some type of truth to it. So I think the season's going to look interesting for the Eagles. They lost Fletcher Cox. Jason Kelsey retired. No surprise there. Hassan Riddick, which we talked about him, and DeAndre Swift. So that's number 2. Number 3, we're going to go with the New York Football Giants, who they're definitely not a sleeper pick. They are going to lose the most games in the division pick. That's who the Giants are. They added Brian Burns.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, I'm being honest. Jalen Mills, Malik Neighbors, Devin Singletary. I know, Patrick, you should know him very well. Lost Saquon, lost Paris Campbell, lost Xavier McKinney, lost A'Shawn Robinson. Daniel Jones is not the guy. Period, point blank. You can't get any more honest than that. So, no, they're not winning the division. No, they're not going to have a winning record. It is what it is there. And the last and final team, I told you I'm not a homer, is the Dallas Cowboys, who were the least active in free agency. It was almost like, are you going to do anything? Are you going to sign someone? Are you maybe you have something up your sleeve? And the fact that Jerry Jones, a.k.a. My good friend Cole Johnson, calls him Draw, because he's like an old uncle that says he's going to do a lot of stuff. He doesn't do it. He comes to the picnic with the church sandals and the socks. I mean, it's just he's a joke. There's no other way to put it. They added Zeke, which I'm not really that excited about. Zeke was washed when he was here. So the fact you signed him 2 years later doesn't mean he's going to be any better. It is what it is. Zeke is, I think he's going to be your third down back, whatever that is. So they also signed Dalvin Cook. I like that signing. I think when you Dalvin Cook, Zeke, they also have Deuce Vaughn. He's going to be hopefully that Darren Sproles type guy. That would be great.
K-State. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Let's take that in.
And I think their biggest signing was Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer brings a different type of defense. It's not going to be a ton of turnovers, I don't think, like Dan Quinn, but I do think it's going to put them in a position to be the most sound defense. I don't think we're going to see a lot of jumping of routes. I don't think we're going to see a lot of big plays, which was what we've seen with Dan Quinn. So adding him, I think he's going to work well with Parsons. And I think Parsons is going to be playing a lot more than just on the line, so that should be interesting. They did sign CD, which I think that was really a farce. I don't think it would. I just think he didn't want to come to camp because everybody was saying in Dallas that they're going to get the deal done before training camp is over with, before the preseason is ended, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm not really surprised or shocked. I think the bigger thing after this season is going to be what happens with Dak. But they lost Stephen Gilmore. I'm a little upset about that. I feel like he was a good addition as a corner. They also big time injury, Deron Bland, who had the most pick sixes last year, and so he's going to be out for the first 6 weeks. So they got a rookie that's going to be starting at corner. I don't know how that's going to work out. So I think by default, I do have the Cowboys winning the division, just because I think the other teams are not going to be successful the entire season, and they've had a 12-win seasons under McCarthy. Just didn't pan out, in the playoffs, and I think that's going to be the biggest question. If it does not pan out this year, I think McCarthy's gone, and I think Dak is gone. We'll see what happens. Cowboys are the most unpredictable team, and they always find a way to love on their guys, no matter how great or bad they are. So that's what I think.
Awesome. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. What I know about the Cowboys this season, not gonna lie to you all, my wife turned me on to something. Yes, my wife. We watched the
Wife turns
Dallas
you on. That's good.
Cowgirls. Yes, she did.
The
We watched
cheerleader
the Dallas,
show.
yes, on Netflix. That was pretty good. I didn't know about
I-
Thunderstruck. I had no idea about that, but that was pretty neat. Every time I hear it now, I'm like Cowgirls. So yeah, good stuff. Anybody got anything for Ben?
Should
Yeah, I
Dak
do.
get paid? Sorry, Eric, didn't mean to cut you off. Dak get paid
okay.
now, or should he do contract now, or should he wait to free agency?
He should wait this free agency, and honestly, I don't think he should get it with the Cowboys. I think you've done it long enough. Didn't pan out.
That's
And
coming from a Cowboys fan.
That is coming from a Cowboys fan with a Dak jersey. Regrettably, I should have went one rack over and got the Parsons jersey. But anyway. But I think it's time for a change. It's time to rip that Band-Aid off. They just been penny pinching and just doing the bare minimum and expecting to win when it matters. That just hasn't worked. So you need to
Got
draft.
Trey Lance.
That guy.
And they got Cooper, and they got
Listen,
Cooper
Dak's
Rush.
going to get paid. Dak's
But
going to
he's
get
gonna
paid.
get paid regardless. I just don't think it's.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be with the Cowboys. I think they're finally gonna, because they never want to regroup. They never want to rebuild. They just want to keep 8-8, 10-7, 12-5 in the regular season, but no success.
Playoff
in the postseason.
purgatory.
It's
Or
exactly
Super
what it
Bowl
is.
purgatory. Yeah.
You're never great and you're never bad. You're right there in the middle every year.
We were there
So-
for a long time with quarterbacks before Josh Allen. I know what that's like. You're never too bad to get somebody good, but you're never good enough to actually make a difference.
Right.
Yeah, I know what that's like.
Yeah, welcome back, bud.
So
Yeah, you can hear me.
Right. Chris
basically-
made a comment, and I want to get you guys' opinion on this before I share what he says. Where does Dak go next if he doesn't stay in Dallas?
Hmm.
Ooh.
Could
Minnesota.
He could go Minnesota. He could go to the Giants.
Go to the Jets.
Could go to the Jets. That's another good
Oh.
one. I mean,
Raiders.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is going to play for probably
Raiders.
another year. or two.
Raiders is probably the
Raiders.
best option because
That's where I was thinking, man.
Minshew is not obviously not going to be it. Saints is a good one too. I like that, Chris. I like
But they got a boy, the backup quarterback for Derek Carr right now, Rattler. Rattler had a very nice preseason, and they're excited for him. And they trying to get him as a starter. The fans are screaming in New Orleans, Rattler. We don't want Derek Carr. They paying all that money.
Hey,
to Carr.
well, like with the Falcons, it don't matter because they had Riddler,
Ritter.
and
Got cut.
They got two quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Penix and Cousins.
Yeah,
But
two chains.
Spencer, yeah. All right, Eric, you were trying to say something. My bad, sir.
No problem. I think he goes to Pittsburgh. And I think Dak is going to go there because I think Tomlin is, or whatever decision they make, they're going to wind up getting rid of Russell Wilson. I think he's going to be a one and done situation. And the contract that Justin Field has, somehow Dak's going to wind up being a quarterback there. And I think if Dallas doesn't get off to maybe like a 6-2 start, anything below that, based on how their schedule is, I think that they fire McCarthy and Belichick is coaching that team.
Wow.
The cheater
That's
of
a-
all
that's
cheaters.
close.
Wow. Yeah. That's a
If you're
take
not-
right there.
Mad
If you're
hoodie.
not cheating, you're not trying.
The mad
Yeah.
hoodie. in the
That's a
building.
bold
Hey,
one.
hey,
Those
you went
footballs
around
are
every.
about to be so deflated.
Yeah, but it's embedded the balls being deflated in your team's confidence.
He went around every rule possible. They had to make a rule the next year. I mean, I don't knock the guy.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
Not gonna be there. That's smart. It was like if you know it's questionable but not illegal in sports, it's like you do it. Like I said, hey, you don't want me to do it, make a rule that I can't do it.
Yeah.
He did.
Awesome.
All right, so,
So-
I'm gonna put some money on. I gotta say this right quick because I don't think McCarthy coming back to the Cowboys because it's Super Bowl or bust, and y'all ain't y'all. I'm gonna say I hate to say.
Well, I'm gonna say it's not Super Bowl or bust. It's,
You don't say
it's
Super Bowl or
You don't
conference-
think so?
Nah, it's conference championship or bust. If they go to the conference championship, this city is gonna go crazy, and Jerry's gonna be like, okay, well, That's really what it is. It's not even Super Bowl or bust. It's just conference champ.
Does it really matter who your coach is, though? I mean, you've got such a powerful owner, such an involved owner. Does it really matter who your coach is? Because does he actually have any power?
It does if he's willing to relinquish some of the power. I mean, you know, we all talk about the Jimmy days, but we don't talk a lot about when Parcells was here. Parcells basically helped them get into that new stadium. That was that moment where they needed a boost, and they sucked, and they got Parcells. Parcells put some stuff in order, and then once they got in, kind of got where they needed to go, he was gone. So it's
so you're saying in order to be a coach for the Dallas Cowboys, you got to be a bottom or a submissive in order to be a coach for the.
You got to be a teddy bear.
Got to kiss the ring, baby. Kiss the ring, bend the knee.
Make sure.
Kiss the ring, bend
You got to be a Wade Phillips type.
He's a son of a bum. He's a son of a bum.
All right, so we've heard about the AFC East. We've heard about the AFC West. We've also heard the AFC North, and we just heard about the NFC East. Maybe I'm biased, maybe I am, but I loved everything you guys had to say, but I really believe the NFC North is the most competitive division in football today. So with that being said, Eric, I turn it over to you.
Tell me why.
So
Don't quit your day job. Oh wait, that's your day job.
I'm starting my list from worst to first. Had to make a couple of edits to this because, man, I'm going to start with the Minnesota Vikings. I think these guys are going to wind up going 6-11 in the division. They've got so many injuries, you know, to their roster. TJ Hawkinson is on the injured list. JJ McCarthy is on the injured list. But they still have some talent, though, because even though I'm thinking if these guys are going to go 6-11, they may wind up surprising us depending on how fast these folks recover from the injury. But anytime that you got Justin Jefferson on your team, that's a plus. Of course, the minus to that is that you got Sam Darnold as the quarterback. So I don't
got to get it to him.
Yeah, you got to get it to him. And their offensive line is suspect. Like I said, if Minnesota was healthy, I really saw Minnesota challenging the Lions for the division lead. But, you know, they got to get healthy depending on how fast they recover from their injuries. They've got a fairly decent defense from the line to the linebackers, you know, to their corners. You know, they've got a decent defense. But like I said, Sam Darnold just don't move the needle at quarterback. So, again, 6-11 for Minnesota. The Chicago Bears. Like Ben was saying, they pretty much have already anointed him the king of Chicago. You got a nice team. You've got DJ Moore. You've got Keenan Allen. You know, you've got Swift. You've got Cole, their tight end. They've got a good offensive line. I think Chicago's going to go 9-8. I question Chicago's secondary. In a division where you've got Justin Jefferson and St. Brown and all of these fantastic receivers, their secondary is suspect. But I think that Chicago may sneak in the last playoff spot and they may go 9-8. The Green Bay Packers, I think that these guys are going to go 11-6. Jordan Love, the way that he came on during the second half of the season kind of reminded me of what Jared Goff did. He showed up to the party late in the season, showed what he can do now that he's got a full year up under his belt, a full training camp with his wide receivers. I think the Green Bay Packers are going to be 11-6. And barring any injuries, I think that they may even get another playoff win like they did against the Cowboys last year. Sorry, Ben. And then
no offense taken. We didn't show up.
Yeah, that was I felt really bad for the Cowboys. Not really, but I did. The Detroit Lions, the Homer team. I think that the Lions are going to go 14-3. I think that they're going to wind up with the number 1 seed in the NFC. They retained their core players. Those guys went through training camp with a chip on their shoulders. Heard multiple times when they were playing the New York Giants in their dual practices, how they was just really just anxious to get out there. The Lions caught some really bad breaks last year. I don't mean to keep picking on the Dallas Cowboys, but the referees really screwed them out of that game. Had we won that game, we would have had home field advantage. throughout the playoffs, and then the whole San Francisco situation where the Lions basically took their foot off the gas, I think the crowd would have kept them in the game. They wouldn't have taken their foot off the gas, and they would have went to the Super Bowl. But from top to bottom, I think the NFC North is going to be the tightest division in football, with very, very little separation. But I think on a talent perspective, both sides of the ball, offense and defense, the Lions have young corners. But Aaron Glenn, being the defensive coordinator, looks like he's developing some schemes to keep them from getting exposed. Like I said, and on the offensive side, Ben Johnson is like the best offensive coordinator, in my opinion, in the game. I mean, we're very fortunate that he didn't take a head coaching job. So that's pretty much what I got on the Lions.
Okay. Awesome. Good job, Eric. Anybody got something for Eric?
Hey, I'll say Dan Campbell is one of my favorite coaches. I mean, just how he motivates his players. That he can relate to the players because he's played. He's one of my favorite coaches. I would have loved for him to come to the Cowboys. Obviously, didn't happen. Shout out.
I'd run through a wall for him.
Yeah, definitely.
What I'll say is I honestly think Green Bay has a very good shot at winning the division, and this is coming from a Lions fan. Josh Jacobs, that's a huge addition. The Packers always have a great offensive line. They're going to pound the ball. They can pass. Jordan Love, like you said, Eric, what he did, last year was amazing. Christian Watson turned into a bona fide number one. I definitely got my eye on the Packers. And honestly, the Lions, thing I'll say about them is I was really shocked to see that they only kept 4 wide receivers. They did sign Tim Patrick, but I'm not thrilled about that. Yeah, he's 6'4". The last 2 seasons, he hasn't finished the season. He's been injured. His best season was 6 touchdowns. I'm not thrilled over that signing, but it is that big body we needed. But we're honestly an injury away here or there. Something Al said that resonated with me is that the Chiefs have avoided that injury bug, but the Lions have. And we've always been getting bit by the injury bug somewhere. Our offensive line looks like studs. I'm nervous about the depth that we have at certain key positions. So I would love to say it that we're going to go back, but the expectations are high. Honestly, in my lifetime, I really don't remember a time that the Lions had this high of expectations. So I'm definitely worried about the Lions. And like I said, I think the Packers they're going to be their division to win personally. So that's what I got.
Yeah, Sam Mitchell or Scott Mitchell was the quarterback.
Scott Mitchell.
Scott Mitchell. Yeah.
Is Jared Goff the guy? Is he the guy?
Most
he is
for
the guy.
For $30 million a year, he better be the guy.
Listen, I'm not going to say. I mean, I'm a big fan of what Dan Campbell's done in Detroit. Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to be great. Jamar Gibbs going to be great. They're going to be a powerhouse. They proved it last year. All the way to the NFC Championship. I think we got robbed of them actually going to the Super Bowl. They fell apart in the second half there. I don't know. I didn't really think about the Packers too much when I think about that division. So I don't know. I agree with you. I think it's going to be a 2-headed race, either the Packers or the Lions. But I would go with the Lions.
And Chicago's not far behind. They're not. If they can produce, if Caleb Williams can be productive, they're right behind.
They'll be.
Caleb Williams can play.
They'll be the team with the most eyes on them, whether they do good or
that's true. Bad. That's very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
I think the Packers is a very well coached team as well.
Yes.
That's and the way that they started the season, we was like, well, I don't know, this Jordan Love, and then all of a sudden they just took off, and they went into I'm waiting on the Cowboys to get that dub. I look up, it's 14-3 over the doggone Cowboys. I said, oh no, this ain't. Don't tell me this is happening right now. But I'm just gonna say it like this. I think the Packers good coaching, young team. They build. It's like a farm system in Green Bay. They build everything inside of it. They don't really pick up in-house. They don't really pick up too many people. Josh Jacobs was a huge pickup because now and in November, December, you can control the football, control the clock, run the ball. Man, listen, that's going to be neck and neck between the Lions and the Packers.
Yes.
Honestly,
Yes.
I thought Josh Jacobs would have went to the Cowboys. Imagining him running behind that offensive line in Dallas, man, that would have been a perfect fit.
They wouldn't have paid him.
Yeah.
Look,
I mean, but
Jerry
y'all got
Jones-
Zeke though. Y'all got Zeke.
Yeah, that's important. You need Zeke.
You need Zeke for those 3 yards that we need.
Getting all Zeked out.
Bam
All right,
Morris
last
returned.
division, y'all. We got Meech who joined us. Thanks for joining a little late, Meech, but thanks for coming. You are the resident expert of the NFC South. So,
AFC South. I ain't got the NFC. That was.
I mean, I'm sorry, AFC South. My bad.
I don't
Yeah,
like that
AFC
trash.
South.
I don't like that trash division.
Hey,
I didn't know that there was
Bill-
anything that
coming
could
to
rhyme with
building, shots
Cheech,
fired.
but I'm excited about it.
I was about to see if he was a Falcons fan for a moment. He's still all right from that 28-3. But he
No.
he cleaned it up. He good.
He did. And just so anyone
All right.
this is not
Hey,
Meech from BMF.
Say,
I mean, I have to
say hi to
much.
Derek. Say hi to Derrick Henry for me.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
that's fine. So look, I'm not even going to start with that team right now. You know, when it comes to the division is always been considered one of the weakest in the NFL. Whether that's the NFC South or the AFC South, is always a toss-up. I feel like due to the fact that the AFC South has the most young quarterbacks on their first contracts, other than Trevor Lawrence just signing that mega deal, which we all know he hasn't done anything for that deal. I say that the AFC South is really going to be the new prime to watch. Okay, you got the C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson. Everybody's waiting to see what Anthony Richardson's going to do. Is he going to stay healthy? You know, I don't know. From what I've seen from just little clips, it don't look like Anthony Richardson's arm is still there yet. You know, may that as it be, they still have Jonathan Taylor on the Colts. But they really don't. They're lacking any other star power, and they're getting hit right now with the injury bug. So it's really a toss-up for the Colts. As far as, of course, everybody knows who's the favorite in the division right now, and that's of course Houston, based on what they did last year. When you're talking about this division, I feel like this division has had a surplus of influx of talent all around the board when you're looking at the notable free agents, whether that's in departure or in incoming. So, for instance, in Houston, we all know they got Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs, they got Nico on defense, Azeez Al-Shire on the defense. So they're pretty stout when you're looking at their offensive weapons as well as their defensive playmakers. So Houston should be the considered favorite in this division right now, only because everything else is still unproven. With that also being said, I just feel like at some point, you know, once we've all seen those teams that go from the worst to the best, and then the next year they can't do the same thing. They can't recuperate that same type of success. And I don't know. I feel like people are going to key in and lock in on the C.J. Strouds and just certain plays that they're doing that it's not going to be as explosive and successful as it was last year. Last year, it came on the scene. Nobody knew what to expect. Nobody knew how Miko Ryans was going to actually run that team, if they was going to be a successful team. We got to think about it. They haven't even had any real success since, what's his name? Bill O'Brien. And Deshaun Watson. So if you think about how far back that is, that Deshaun Watson was actually on the Houston Texans, that's the last time the Texans really had any success, whether it be seasonal or in the playoffs, which we all know they always choke in the playoffs. Jacksonville, I honestly feel like Jacksonville will be the third best team out of this division. Trevor Lawrence, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is the guy. I'm sorry, I've seen him in Clemson. I've seen him here play in Georgia even, because he's a Georgia boy. And it's one of those things where if you've been the guy for every step of your way and you never really had to fight for anything, you're not used to, you know, actually having to fight for your spot. And let's be real, who's behind him? Mac Jones? He has no worries. Let's be real. Who's behind him? So it's really, he's never had to worry about quarterback competition or really having to be put on the hot seat. But now you just signed a mega deal, making you one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league for what? Has they done anything in the playoffs fellas? I'm being like general question. If y'all know something that I don't know, maybe I was gone or something. But I haven't seen Jacksonville do anything in the playoffs, literally. And then last year was supposed to be their supposed year, but y'all got knocked out by the Titans, who had our worst year yet. So how can we really say y'all are a playoff caliber team or really that contention team in the AFC South when y'all got kicked out by a team that literally won, 7 games last year? And then last but not least, I think the second team, the sleeper team, is going to be the Titans. Now, I am a little biased. We all know. I just showed y'all I'm a Tennessee Titans fan. I was born in Nashville. So, look, I live here in Atlanta, Georgia, but I'm a Nashville-bred boy. So, I stick with who I stick with. You feel me?
Early days.
I'm not no bandwagoner. Look.
Appreciate the loyalty, baby. Appreciate the loyalty.
Hey, somebody has to. with everything going on nowadays, everybody just jumping on whoever's the hot team. Nah, so I understand everybody's thought process. Y'all don't have Derrick Henry. What will y'all do? Y'all not even the Titans no more. Where is Derrick Henry? Yes, we all know Derrick Henry, the king, is gone to Baltimore. Baltimore hope they have success. I hope Derrick gets his ring. But this is something that Tennessee has never done. We've never been a pass first team in the 30 years we've actually been in Tennessee. And even when we was in the Houston Oilers days, they've never been a pass first team. If you look at what Tennessee has always been, it's been a run heavy team with good defense. We look at Earl Campbell, the Eddie George, Chris Johnson, Derrick Henry. All of those are literally the Mount Rushmores of running backs, 2,000 yard a year, guys. So this being a pass first team, and with the free agency signings we did do in free agency with Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, I think the dynamic of everything is setting the quarterback Will Levis up for success. And you hire a coach who's literally coached Peyton Manning, Derek Carr, Matthew Stafford in their best years. And Joe Burrow. He's the reason why Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl, because if y'all remember Joe's first year, Joe got hurt, but Joe really wasn't playing how he was playing that second year when they went on their Super Bowl run. That's because Callahan literally told him, stop going for the deep ball. We're going to do the short intermediate, play the game how it comes to you, and then take our deep shots when they're open. So I feel like that's going to reel Will Levis in, who has a strong arm, to be like, okay, I'm going to just take whatever the defense is giving me and not trying to go for that kill shot every time, because that's what killed Will Levis last year. You only got DeAndre Hopkins on one side. I'm going to just throw it up to D-Hop, and D-Hop comes down with it. Now, that's a great thought process when you look at who the person is. DeAndre Hopkins is still, I'd say, top 10 wide receiver in the league right now. Even though he's old as I don't know what, you're over 30, put up over 1,000 yards last year, over what? I want to say 7-8 touchdowns last year. And you're playing behind a trash O-line. So the O-line's revamped for the Titans. And then when you look at the defensive side, the signing of L'Jarius Sneed, I'm not going to lie. That solidifies that. The worst thing the Titans have always had is terrible corner and safety play. Terrible in the last 5-6 years. When we had Mike Vrabel, one of the best head coaches the Titans have ever had, we could not stop people from bombing on us for nothing in the world. But then you bring in people from Cincinnati like Chidobe Awuzie. You trade for L'Jarius Sneed. Then you got Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams signings, as well as they just signed the linebacker for the Rams. They just traded for the linebacker for the Rams yesterday, who led the Rams in tackles last year with 147 tackles. So now you're looking at a defense that now has the pieces to literally blitz you at any point from any direction, as well as the back end being man-to-man, because that's what the DBs need. They need to be playing man-to-man. When you got a L'Jarius Sneed, a Awuzie, and then even the unsung hero, which people don't talk about a lot, Roger McCreary, this is his third year, but he's from Auburn, so he's an SEC guy. He's played most of these guys that we're going to have to go against, the Jamar Chases, the Justin Jeffersons. He's played them in college, and he actually shut them down in college. But, I think that's really the sleeper team, and a lot of people are, sleeping on the Titans zone because they don't have Derrick Henry. What they going to do? Who they got? A revamped O-line? Hey, I don't care what nobody says, but I'm a football coach and I'm a football player. If your O-line is trash, I don't care how good your quarterback, receivers, or running backs is. Because as we've seen, even though we had Derrick Henry last year and the year before, the Titans O-line was trash. I'm going to be real. We've been trash for the last 4 years on the O-line. And this is coming from a diehard Titans fan. So, you know, I'm telling you, like, if I'm saying that's trash, I'm speaking on it because I've watched them. And so now you're looking at first round picks for your center, your left guard, and your left tackle. And then your right guard is also a first round pick. And then your right tackle is also a first round pick. So the whole O-line is all first round picks, all within, let's see, the oldest person on that line is the center. He's been in the league for about 4 or 5 years now. This will be his 5th year, but everybody else is still young. But everybody is still a first round prospect. So now you're looking at a revamped O-line behind a revamped offense with a brand new head coach and a brand new defensive coordinator. I think that's what's going to set the AFC ablaze because a lot of people, like I said, of course, everybody's going to pick Houston to be the main guy. Hey, I love it. As a Titans fan, I love to see that. Like, it was funny. I was actually watching another podcast, the Pivot Podcast, and they was in Tennessee. And Fred Taylor, running back for the Jaguars, said, one of my guys told me that Stephon Diggs called the Texans and said, I want to go down to Houston and play with them so that way L'Jarius Sneed can't run away from me. I want to play him twice a year. That's what he said. And when he said it, the look on L'Jarius Sneed's face was like, yeah, and I'm ready for it. Twice a year. I can't wait.
That's a competitor.
Yeah, that's that dog in him. Like, he was like this. I'm glad and this is exactly what he said, I'm glad he made that call. I'm glad he made that call. Now he can see me twice a year. So I feel like a lot of people are counting the Titans out, and that's fine. And that's what we want. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. As anybody's ever watched anything or heard anything about the Titans, we don't want to be in the national media because we understand we're in a small market. Tennessee's always been the small market team, but Tennessee has always had a good team. It's just because the market's so small that people don't really pay them no attention, and that's fine. Hey, we'll go fly under the radar and come up, 10 and 7? I honestly think that's a reasonable if and it all falls on Will Levis. If he can take that year 2 leap, the Titans will be in contention for at least a wild card spot. I don't see Indy actually progressing because, like I said, they have the injury bug, and it's all going to depend on what Anthony Richardson does. He's not actually on the field right now to even go through all the reps. You're missing valuable mental time and valuable practice reps. So it's gonna be extremely hard for you to try to get that in. What football season starts next week to try to compact all that in and try to get all the reps you need to get in to get very comfortable with your receivers in that short of time and still hope that your arm is still good. I don't see them making a big leap. And then Jacksonville, I can only say them losing Calvin Ridley, but then signing Gabe Davis does not replace Calvin Ridley. I'm gonna be real. I had Gabe Davis in my fantasy last year, and 1 week he'll be the hottest receiver in fantasy. The next week he's nowhere to be found. 1 week he's the hottest dude in fantasy. Next week he's nowhere to be found. So that inconsistency is not going to mold well for Jacksonville. And all Jacksonville wants to do is try to throw, but y'all have a decent running back with Travis Etienne that y'all should give the ball to. But they know that their O-line is still suspect as well because, hey, they haven't invested in it. And I think the one thing that a lot of teams do nowadays, they don't build from the ground up. They don't build. You're supposed to start in the trenches. I'm sorry, it's not the sexiest pick to go ahead and your first round pick to pick a lineman or a left tackle or whatever. It's not sexy. We all know that. We all want a receiver, bright new shiny toy. It's a shiny car. Like, you know, when you get that shiny car, oh, I want to take it for a spin right now. That's what happens when you get a receiver or a running back or a quarterback tight end. But if you have, like I said earlier, you have no line to protect you to throw that ball to the tight end receiver or give it to the running back to hope they can find a hole, you're not going to be successful. And I feel like they're doing the backwards thing. They're not building from the trenches, whereas Houston, Tennessee, they're built from the trenches. Indy's O-line is too old. They're not going to be able to sustain. So that's just my take on everything when it comes to the AFC South. My pick for the win will probably be Houston. My sleeper team is going to be the Titans. I don't see Indy actually being any bit of relevance right now. And I honestly say it's kind of funny. I feel like when they did Andrew Luck the way they did Andrew Luck, they started to get their curse. Like, I believe curses are real, y'all. Like, I'm not gonna lie. The Titans have had a curse for years. You know why? Because they did Steve McNair dirty. They locked him out the building.
R.I.P. too, man.
R.I.P. Look, watch that documentary if y'all haven't seen it on Netflix. That documentary is cold. But when they did Steve like that, they didn't have a good season or a great season until they got Vince Young and Chris Johnson. And then they still went through another drought until we got to 2015, 2016 when we started being relevant again and actually making moves and winning divisions. Same thing with Atlanta. Atlanta did Vic wrong, and that curse has followed them, literally. Like, so I do believe that curses are real. So I don't know. I think them booing Andrew Luck off that field that day after he announced his retirement, and then them not realizing, like, this man put his whole body and life on the line for y'all for years, and y'all didn't even have an O-line to protect him. So now he's trying to take care of himself, and y'all gonna boo this man because he's trying to protect his mental and his health. Yeah, I don't see y'all actually getting over that curse no time soon. Even if y'all have an Anthony Richardson, he and like I said, that's Anthony Richardson is just another shiny toy. It looks nice. He has a cannon of an arm, but accuracy issues. And then reading defenses, those go hand in hand as a quarterback. And if y'all seen any of his tapes from Miami, he can't read defenses, and he's not accurate. And anything you saw last year of him scoring, it was him running the ball. I think he maybe had 1 or 2 throwing touchdowns, and that's because he had a big tight end. But their big tight end is hurt already and out for the season. So y'all's main weapon is Michael Pittman Jr. and a rookie and last year's second round pick, Josh Downs. So I just don't see it being beneficial for them to actually do anything that's going to be worth talking about. Like, I feel like even if we talk about this 5-6 weeks from now, it'll be like, so let's give an update how y'all feeling about the division. It's going to be the same topic for me. They haven't done anything. Houston's showing that they're the strong ones. Tennessee is coming up behind them, trying to make sure that that y'all got something to talk about. So those are my takes, though.
Hey, Meech, definitely thanks. Great job, man. Great job. Definitely appreciate you joining. Definitely to tell us about that. And I got one last question for everybody. And we're like 30 minutes over, so keep this brief, please. No, you didn't talk 30 minutes. You're good.
No, but I was like an hour and 30 minutes late almost, so, kind of trying to make up.
Yeah, it's all good. So keep this brief for me. I'm gonna go around the room. I'm gonna start with Princeton. Want to hear who you think is gonna come out of the AFC, come out of the NFC, and who's gonna be the Super Bowl champion. Prince, let's start with you.
All right, I'm gonna go against the grain. And I'm going to say it's going to be the Chiefs versus the Cowboys. Wow. I'm going to say Chiefs are going to win.
Whoa.
Okay. Wow. Eric?
I knew I liked you.
Wow. You know what? I don't think Kansas City makes it this year. I think that it's going to be Buffalo out of the AFC, Detroit out of the NFC, with Detroit winning the Super Bowl. Hell, I'll even give you a score, 34-21.
Okay. All right. Al?
The more I think about it, man, it's tough to three-peat. And we've had a lot of distractions. And as a Chiefs fan, a resident Chiefs fan, I like my team, I listen, but let me start with the NFC first. The NFC is wide open. I'm gonna go with Green Bay coming out of the NFC. The AFC, I'm going to choose that nice shiny toy in Houston for right now. But it could change in 8 weeks. So Houston, Green Bay. I'm rolling with Green Bay as the Super Bowl champion.
All right, Ben.
So AFC, I'm gonna go Ravens. I think this is the year that they put it all together. Derrick Henry, I think, is a missing piece that they needed. And then I'm gonna go Lions. Lions was this close, and they've only gotten better, and that those war wounds help you build when it goes to the next year. So, and I got Ravens winning it all.
Patrick,
this pains me extremely to agree with Eric about anything. But I've got to go this way. I'm going to start with the NFC. I think the Lions were the team that everybody wanted and deserved to be in the Super Bowl. I think, that team is fighting for Dan Campbell. They'll run through those walls for him. So Lions from the NFC. And my boys, man, that was a Super Bowl that we were we should have had last year, Bills and Lions.
Okay. Meech?
So my NFC pick, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna go Philly. I think the addition of Saquon, and then you still have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith on the outsides with Dallas Goedert as the tight end. Jalen's gonna get his arm right this year, and they're gonna actually be the explosive team that they need to be. And then in the AFC, God, don't strike me for saying this. I can't even say that. Nah, I look. Everything in me wants to go against the grain and say, Houston's gonna do what they need to do. But I honestly say it's gonna be Baltimore. I think Derrick Henry and Lamar finally get that ring, and I can swallow that better. if the Ravens go to Super Bowl rather than Houston, because Houston, as y'all know, is always trying to be like the Titans. I don't care what nobody says. So I actually think Baltimore pulls this out, and like Ben said, the missing piece, honestly, for the Ravens is Derrick Henry. Their defense has always missed out. They've always had a good offense. They've just had terrible injury bug and health issues at running back. And Derrick Henry's not one of those running backs that's gonna just go down easy or like be hurt. Even when he's hurt, he still is 1,000-yard. He's still 1,000-yard rusher as we speak. So 1,000 plus double-digit touchdowns. Then you got that read option with him and Lamar. Who's gonna stop that? I'm being real. Like, even as a defensive coach, I'm a defensive coordinator, and I'm thinking, like, how would you even go about game planning to stop a read option between Derrick Henry and Lamar? It's to really pick your poison at that point.
Can't.
You can't. So I think we're gonna get us a good Super Bowl, and it's gonna come down to the wire, probably a 24-21 game. But Baltimore's gonna end up taking this one this year.
All right. And that leaves me. In my heart of hearts, I want to agree with Eric, at least on the NFC side. I would love to see Lions, Buffalo, couple buddies here, that support both teams, but I don't think it's going to happen. I really have to go with KC coming out of the AFC. And the NFC, I think it's going to be San Fran again. I'm kind of surprised I didn't hear San Fran at all. But I think they're going to do it, especially if Brandon Ayuk stays, especially. But I think it's going to be a repeat, and I do believe that it's going to be a three-peat with Kansas City winning it once again. So that's my picks. So
I'm going to be real, James.
San Francisco.
The reason I didn't pick San Francisco, y'all, okay, it's a history of San Francisco right now. A lot of people don't know about it. Colin Kaepernick, Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy all have the same win-loss record stats, only missing a few losses, few wins for each of them. Same QBR, same completion, same touchdown to interception ratio. This is around the time that Jimmy Garoppolo and Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers fell off for both of those quarterbacks. So I don't know if that's a curse thing or if it's going to just, history repeats itself, but I kind of feel like San Fran's not going to be that team this year. Not like we always see them being in the forefront.
Listen, I didn't pick San Francisco because they're not going to have a left tackle. Trent Williams. I mean, come on. And Brandon Ayuk, are you gonna play? There's too many question marks for me in San Francisco.
Ayuk is going to the Commanders. You heard it here first.
Quite possibly. Who knows?
Ooh, I just don't want to see that rematch. We've seen it so many times. Like, please, someone, please.
It's like
someone,
Cleveland
please knock out
Golden
Jake
State.
Paul.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson, please just handle business and knock out Jake Paul.
Yes.
It's the same thing.
And his brother Logan too.
Hey, yes.
Yeah.
Logan is fucking up the WWE.
Yeah.
I think that Eagles pick is good though. To be honest, I mean, the only thing that the Eagles can do is go up.
Yeah.
I mean, you pretty much have figured out you got a dynamite running back at Saquon Barkley. You have stud receivers. Jalen Hurts, I said earlier, Meech, he's in the top 5 of my quarterback list.
I agree.
So I think that's a good pick.
All right. Well, everyone, that's it. That's it, guys. The normal team stay on. We got a few more things to cover, but Al, Meech, Ben, thank you guys so much for joining today. Really appreciate it. Let us know, Al, when your show come back. We definitely want to give you guys a listen or give you a listen when you come back. So definitely. And Ben, we definitely, as usual, be tuning in, listening to all your shows on the BS3 network. So we definitely appreciate it. Meech, get us an invite, man, to your game. I don't know where you coach at. If you want to give a shout out, by all means.
I got you. I coach at John White Park down off Cascade, ABA Bulldogs. We actually headed to Alabama this weekend to go play in a Birmingham tournament. So we're trying to come on with that trophy this weekend. But definitely, most of our games will be on the Tykes Network, Tiny Tykes Network or whatnot. That's on Facebook or YouTube. But yeah, I got 9-year-old boys, man, and I'm gonna be real. I remember being 9, but man, it's like the times are so different. And
they built different, man.
I'm gonna be real.
Yeah.
So they're built different, but they're built a lot softer than we were. And I love my boys. I love my boys, but even the head coach boss, he was supposed to be here tonight, but literally we used to say the same thing, bro. Y'all gotta stop sucking on your mama titty when you playing football. You gotta think about it. When you play football, you can't look and whine the mama on the sideline because the coach yelling at you. You get what I'm saying? Like, so I think a lot of times we've gone softer on the newer generations. So it's hard trying to, incorporate that old school football that we learned growing up to this new generation who can't take criticism all that well because, how dare you talk about my game or talk about me? I want to quit the team. See, when we came up, ain't no quitting the team. Mama done paid the money and stuff. You pay.
You finishing out this season.
You play.
If you don't want to play next year, that's fine.
But this year, we playing. So just trying to get them to realize, this game that we love, and even though we're hard on you because we love the game and we love y'all. Like, we want to make sure that y'all grow to be great young men who can look back and be like this. I could call my football brother right now and we can talk about anything. Like, I got football brothers still to this day that I can call right now in a moment's notice, and they'll pick up and be like, "You good? You all right? All right, I'm on the way." So that type of camaraderie, brotherhood, that's what we're trying to bring to them. And, most of these kids are city kids, so they don't get the best of everything.
Hey, speaking of camaraderie and brotherhood, guys, thank you guys so much for coming on, man. It's really been an honor and a privilege to get to know all of you guys coming on. I really do appreciate that. Al, Meech, thank you guys. Ben, listen, I'm going to, repeat your voice on repeat to go to bed at night. Help me sleep at night. So that'll be nice.
I need to get on the Calm app, man.
Right? For real. Can you imagine Ben saying, "Ooh, you are great. You are
getting very sleepy.
You are getting very sleepy." So I'm going to sleep to Ben's voice tonight, but here's a round of applause, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all for the invite. I'll do this anytime.
Thanks, fellas. So I have to be honest, Patrick. I did not know where you were going when you said "ooh, Ben." I didn't know where you was going with that. So I'm glad
like the soothing ocean noises. Like the Calm app where you're like the rain sounds, and then you got Ben's voice, just positive affirmations. You are a good guy. You are great. I can just imagine that. It's good stuff. I'm glad they were cool. Glad to have
guys. This is awesome show. This has definitely been one of our longer ones, and I'm about to start pissing in a minute. So let's go. Let's see, Patrick, you got this day in history.
I do actually. I'm gonna try to make this quick. Nothing I do is very quick, but
that's not what
I actually have two. There's the softball. I've actually got two things, but they're kind of the same. So to be honest, I'm just going to read the first one. First of all, this day in history, the most famous August 28th, on this day in 1963, some 200,000 people marched on Washington, D.C., an event that became a high point of the civil rights movement, especially remembered for the famous "I Have a Dream" speech of Dr. Martin Luther King. First of all, you talk about generational change and inspirational change. And you know what I mean? I've got to give shout outs to my fellow panelists here of continuing to teach and enlighten me on things that, are different culturally from me too. So I give a shout out to them, but I Have a Dream, Martin Luther King, very big day back in 1963. The second one that I wanted to talk about is really the one that I admittingly didn't really know too much about until I started hanging out with you fine people. You guys have opened my eyes to a lot of things that
people.
Well, I mean that sincerely. I know that sounded. Listen, no, I know that sounded sarcastic, but I mean it sincerely. To be honest with you, I didn't know who Emmett Till was. Until building a friendship with you guys. You guys have opened my eyes to a lot of different things, and I thank you for that. And unfortunately, August 28th, 1955 is the unfortunate death and murder of Emmett Till. He was lynched in a mob, and again, just a terrible story that, admittingly, unfortunately, I was unaware of. And I am glad that I have been opened eyes as far as some of these types of things, and so I appreciate those two big civil right movement going on back in the day, this day in history.
Isn't it crazy? I just have one small interjection, Charlie. Isn't it crazy, like you yourself, you were an educator, but isn't it crazy stuff like that isn't taught in not Black history, but just isn't taught in history, period. It shouldn't be like a Black history thing. It should be a history lesson.
No, you're right. And it's not something that I'm necessarily proud of. It's not something that, having a closed-minded viewpoint. But like I said, that's why I continue. And it's not the only reason that I hang out with you guys, because you guys are pretty fun also. But you guys continue to open my eyes and enlighten me to things that maybe I didn't have experience with growing up. And like I said, I want to let you guys know that everything that you say, I do hear and internalize, and I enjoy real conversation with you guys.
And that wasn't
in addition to the stupidness that we have.
That wasn't even a shot at you, just like the school systems in general. Like it should, nobody should get to adulthood and not have heard of any of that.
I agree.
But unfortunately, Prince, and I agree with you, and that's something Patrick and I talked about. And matter of fact, had that exact same conversation when I first talked to Patrick about Emmett Till. I remember that conversation very well. But what's so interesting to me, and this can be a whole nother conversation, for another day, of course. But what's funny is we want to remember certain things about history, but we also want to forget certain things about history. And that's unfortunate. Who gets to pick and choose what we remember and what we forget? Those stories that Patrick just brought up are stories that people want to forget about. Let's forget about what happened in Emmett Till. But let's remember 9/11. Let's remember the Titanic, right? It's like, just remember certain things, and it's like, why? Why do we pick and choose? But once again, that's a topic for another day. One thing I do want to mention, Patrick, thank you for sharing that. As far as the march on Washington, I do believe Eric was working security that day. Patrick, Eric, what was that day like from where you were standing?
I was hoping that somebody looked exactly like you would have gotten beat up in that crowd. That's what I was hoping.
And Patrick, go ahead, Eric.
No, I'm sorry. I did want to comment, Patrick, about what you said about being enlightened. As an African American, I understand that the civil rights movement was not just Black people marching for their rights. We were marching hand in hand with all ethnicities. So that's why when folks bring up, let's just say, Black Lives Matter, when something like that happens, you can just insert whatever injustice is occurring. But all walks of life matter, and all people matter. And I know that you have your struggles too, struggles that I probably couldn't even begin to understand. And then it's the same thing, with me. I don't know what it's like to be a white. But I do know what it's like to be a Black guy to walk into a store and then people are automatically looking at you, or get pulled over just because you're Black. Now, folks say that it's not a thing. Driving while Black is a real thing, right. But it is. And I've learned a lot, from you too, Patrick. There's a lot of things that you do. You seem like you're an excellent dad. The relationship that you have with you and your father, I love the way that you treat your dad. Love the way that you talk about your wife in a positive manner. You got some things that are going on, but you always have a smile on your face. And I greatly appreciate you as my brother. I really do.
I appreciate that, bud. For real.
And James in Princeton, thank you, Pat.
Crazy.
Well, I just want to point out one thing that Patrick said. on how a statement he made could have been so different. He said, "You fine people." Had he taken the word "fine" out, it'd have been a whole
People.
different statement. Yeah, you people.
Well,
But
listen, did you understand? Did you see the response from all of you when I said "you fine people"?
Look,
Just because
I just was clarifying. I was clarifying if you meant like us three or us.
Well, you're so used to
all
my
of us.
sarcasm. You're
us
so
three
used to my sarcasm.
representatives.
No, listen. In all seriousness, guys, I do appreciate your perspectives, your points of view. Nothing you ever say falls on deaf ears. Listen, we're going to agree on certain things. We're going to disagree on other things. But it would be crazy of me to sit here and say that I haven't learned anything, just from being your guys' friends. So I appreciate that, and that's in all seriousness. That's no BS.
We're friends.
We appreciate you. So we're
Yeah,
gonna
I know
talk
we're friends,
real quick.
right?
Hey, we're gonna talk real quick about next week's show, and then Prince is gonna take us off air with his version of spitballing. So next week,
God, somebody,
same
please.
time, same place. Season 3, episode 15, weight loss surgery, life before and after. We may have a couple of guests on to talk about this. If we do, great. If not, I definitely can share some things about it. I've gotten a lot of questions about this, a lot of questions. So it'd definitely be a great opportunity to educate some people. I'm not an expert by any means, but I definitely learned a lot throughout my journey. And as a matter of fact, this coming Saturday is going to be my 1 year. 1 year ago is when I actually had surgery. So definitely would love to talk a little bit about that and just kind of what life was like before and after. And to one last thing I'll say about this, to Eric's point, we don't know what we don't know, right? And I don't know fully what it's like, as Eric said, to be a full white man or a full black man. There's a such thing as light skin privilege. It really is. There's different types of privileges. I know that's a little sore spot in some conversation we have, Patrick, but it is a thing. And something I want to talk about is food addiction. It's something that you all may not have, but it definitely is something that contributed to where I was pre-surgery. So I definitely look forward to talking a lot about that. And I'm sure if we do have guests, they'll have some things to say about food addictions and life before and after surgery. So with that being said, it is time for Spitball.
All right. I know we've been here a long time already, so I'm going to keep this spitballing short, but concise and to the point. My spitballing this week is about you guys, really, but it's about old people. It's about senior citizens. What the heck is up with old people and thinking they can say whatever they want just because of their age? Look, I don't care, Granny, that you're 80 years old, you're 90 years old. The way I was raised, if you want respect, you got to give respect. So just because you've been here since the dawn of time doesn't mean you can walk around complaining about or saying whatever you want or just being disrespectful. I guess they feel, and I'm not just talking about people in your family. Like, I'm just talking about in public. You could be out at a store, and just because someone is barely getting around, they're in one of the scooters, they feel like, I don't know, they have authority over you just because of your age. Hey, that's not how life works, buddy. Just because you're on the way out doesn't mean you can talk any way you want. So that's my gripe, is that if you want respect, give respect. Doesn't matter if you're 6, doesn't matter if you're 96, like most of the people on this podcast. That's all I got.
He said on your way out. He said on your way out. Anyway, well, we are on our way out now. Princeton, thank you for that interesting perspective.
No problem.
Those were
living in the villages, buddy.
I'm going out. I'm gonna go out to the pasture and just kind of just sit back and just slump over. That's what I'm gonna do. Me on my way out.
Those views are not necessarily the views of the Ear Hustling podcast. But anyway, thank you guys. Until next week.
Deuces.